Russian military is taking chips from dishwashers and refrigerators to fix their military hardware because there are no semiconductors anymore. Russia's industry is in tatters. Europe is ready to assume its responsibilities. Rearm Europe could mobilize close to 800 billion euros of defense expenditures for a safe and resilient Europe. We will, of course, continue working closely with our partners in NATO. This is a moment for Europe, and we are ready to step up.
There he is, the boss dog. All right. Watching the world burn, watching the world burn. March 10th, 2025. Let's get into it. I had to play that clip up front. Isn't it amazing the ingenuity of people on X? They come up with these videos or these montages, and I tell you what, man, civilian reporting is taking over the world. But obviously we're going to start with Ukraine as the theme. And I'm sorry to say, I don't know how much of this footage that I'll include, but we got to start with the Ukraine war. And if you don't want to watch some pretty graphic stuff here, I mean, like I said, I'll see what I can include. But if you haven't been following along, the Kursk region is pretty much done for. You know, and I've talked about this. I got a lot of views on the video because I was talking about Kursk, I guess, from before a lot of people knew what was going on. And I don't know if it's because it was a good post or because X let me out of the doghouse, man. I'm no longer under review. I don't even know why I was under reviewed. They didn't say. They just said you're under review, and then and they put a tag on my account. I don't even know what that means because I looked at my account to see what the tag was. Anyway, it's all water over the dam now. So maybe I'm going to get a lot more views now. Who knows? All right, so we got this. I found this new account. This is I'm pretty sure it's pro-Russian because they called the Ukrainians militants. It's called New Rules Geopolitics. It's actually very good. In the stuff that they post, and they put up this thread, and we're going to start right here. So I'll just start reading to you what they're saying, you know. And Ukrainians have begun fleeing in panic from Kursk, but Russian aviation and drones are blowing them up. This is quickly turning into a total military collapse for Zelensky. Here is the proof. So we're going to get into the thread. Now, before we get into this, I did want to talk about the operation a little bit, and I've only seen it on the Military Summary channel, but he says they went into a gas pipeline, and they navigated this gas pipeline.
Infantry somewhere here in this point. And later, and more precisely today, on the 9th of March, we received lots of videos from the Russian soldiers from inside of this pipeline where they were talking about this offensive operation. In this video, we can see the situation inside of this tunnel, inside of this pipeline. Significant number of Russian soldiers smoking cigarettes, talking about different things, and every single one of them was expecting for one thing, the order to begin offensive operation. The sources are saying that the Russians spent up to 2 days inside of these pipelines. The sources are saying that during this operation, several Russian soldiers died because there was still gas. There was still a small amount of gas that left, and sometimes there was lots of cases of panic because it's not so easy to stay there for 2 days waiting for orders in this very small space. But the Russians managed to probably suffer everything, and they they received this final order to begin offensive operation. And the Russian soldiers landed in this area on the 8th of March, or in the early morning of the 8th of March, or in the late evening of the 7th of March. And the Ukrainian sources published their first video. And in this video published by the Ukrainian site, we can see exactly the moment when the Russians left pipeline. As you can see, there were lots of Russian soldiers. And the first thing what the Russians did when they left the pipeline was to move as close as possible towards the railways and towards the tree lines, because these tree lines were the only safe place where the Russians could stay and could survive after another Ukrainian wave of attack with artillery and cluster rounds. When the Ukrainians discovered this very, very tricky operation, of course, the first thing the Ukrainians began doing, they began bombing and attacking the Russians in this area. We just finished with the video, and there were two places that were geolocated. This is the first place where Ukrainians were bombing and attacking with everything they had, and this is the second place. Based on this video and based on the area of landing point, we have adjusted the map in Russian favor. We have colored this, we have added this polygon that shows the approximately the territory that the Russians managed to capture when they landed infantry in
I mean, I'm a little bit claustrophobic. I mean, when I get down, that's why I would never be spelunking, you know, to get down in these caves and, you know, be really tight. But the thing about the gas pipeline was, okay, what Russia did was their aviation blew up the other side of the pipeline so that the Ukrainians couldn't flood it back with gas, right? But I mean, you're in a pipeline. Suppose the Ukrainians had thrown some chemical weapons in there, you know, let's just say mustard gas or nerve agent or whatever, or even shot some, you know, put an artillery piece at the other end of the gas pipeline and just started blowing shells down the pipeline. I mean, I would have been scared to death to hike 6 miles through a freaking gas pipeline. If that's the real story, I mean, that's what they said on the military summary channel. I'm gonna tell you what, man, don't F with a Russian. I mean, these are some brave damn people, man. And Ukrainians too. The Ukrainians fight hard. The problem is the odds were stacked against them, you know, but they're just as good of fighters as the Russians are. Anyway, but let's get into this post. A column of Ukrainian vehicles with military personnel try to withdraw in Sudza, Kursk. I'll put the text up above. Under cover of darkness, but they soon discovered that the bridge they planned on crossing has been destroyed. This makes them easy prey for Russian aviation. And we got a video of that. I'll see if I can show it. I don't think it shows any death. After the bulk of the Ukrainian column was destroyed by the Russian aviation, the Russians sent drones to finish off the survivors. Now, this is a Democrat-sponsored war. You have to understand that. The Democrats are the warmongering party that brought this all about. All right, so this is, let's keep going. The lone Ukrainian, this lone Ukrainian pickup truck filled with military personnel tries to escape the Kursk region unnoticed, but a Russian spots the car and goes straight for the kill. And I've watched the video. We'll put that up. The This is the next one. Ukrainians try to evacuate as many NATO weapons out of Kursk as they can. But unfortunately for them, Russian drones are constantly on the hunt for new trophies. Ukrainian invaders try to escape Kursk region on foot. Russians spot them and drop high-volume explosives on their heads. A growing number of Ukrainian invaders are surrendering to Russian defenders in Kursk. They realize the situation is increasingly hopeful, as they'd rather be Russian POWs, and he must have meant hopeless there, as they'd rather be Russian POWs than Zelensky's cannon fodder. Like I said, it's kind of a long thread, but it brings home the reality of war, doesn't it? You know, and this is what Democrats want. Talk to your Democrat neighbor. I can't believe that Trump ain't supporting Ukraine. Trump ain't supporting Ukraine. What the hell has Ukraine got to do with the United States anyway? And then you got the Democrat politicians. Oh, this is all Trump's fault. The Ukrainians are dying in vast numbers. No, it's been a killing zone for a long time. 60,000 Ukrainians. It was just a brilliantly run strategic operation. When you've got soldiers popping up in your rear and you don't know where the hell they came from, that instills chaos. Okay, imagine, okay, let me paint you a scenario. So here I am over in Iraq, okay? We've got our positions, and we're sitting there, and we got everything facing outward and ready. You know, we've prepared for the enemy. We got minefields in front of us. We've got Constantine wire up there. We've got our kill zones. Everybody's mapped out where, when the enemy comes across, you know, your zone of fire, you got everything ready. All of a sudden, from behind, here comes the enemy in great numbers with equipment. And you're like, well, where the hell did they come from, man? You're looking around and you're like, holy shit. And so now you're churning your weapons around and you're trying to take on the enemy. And you're like, oh my God, no, you got no zones of fire because it's coming from behind. You wasn't planning on that. So, I mean, so now the killing begins and they're wiping you out. You see that your buddy, his head gets blown off. And you're running around and you're going like, holy shit. And it just erupts into chaos. And then, you know, probably on the radio, they're trying to regroup. They're saying, you know, form back at checkpoint Charlie, form back at checkpoint Charlie. Good luck getting to checkpoint Charlie. You know, oh man, I'm telling you, all right, let's keep going. So, expect more Ukrainians to surrender in the coming days. Russians are systematically destroying Ukraine's logistics in the region. Ukraine no longer have anywhere to run or hide. And then it goes on from, well, that's the end of that thread. So let's get to some other news here. I did want to talk about Elon Musk for just a minute. By the way, he looks like he's going to be trying to rescue those astronauts within the next 3 weeks. is what I heard. Now, here's something for you. You know my dislike for Democrats, but here's something that I guarantee you. If Elon fails to be able to rescue these astronauts, the Democrats are going to go all over that. They're going to be cheering that on. These are sick people, man. You got a neighbor who's a Democrat. They are a sick person. They'll cheer on. I mean, I don't care if it was freaking Satan sending up a rocket. I would be rooting for the rocket to get up there and rescue the damn astronauts. And if it goes down, if it doesn't make it, I'd be upset. Anyway, so, oh man, I tell you, I get on my box. I'm sorry. We got to get back to the beginning here. But I don't know if you knew, but right now the lefties have been attacking various Tesla dealerships around the country. Some of them have been firebombed. Some have they've painted graffiti on there, always with the Nazi symbol. Like Elon's a Nazi. That's the dumbest thing I could ever imagine. You know, he's from South Africa, for Christ's sake. But anyway, I mean, but the lefties, you know, anybody that supports Trump is obviously a Nazi. A MAGA, you know, is a Nazi, according to them. To me, the lefties are the Nazis. I mean, that's what the Nazis did before they came into power in Germany, was they went around and destroyed a bunch of stuff. But anyway, so Elon's paying a real price. Somebody put a post up too on X, and I was laughing at it. They said, you know, they hope that Elon is getting Secret Service protection. Would you trust the Secret Service after Butler, Pennsylvania, or on the golf course? I wouldn't trust the Secret Service as far as I could throw them. I hope that Trump has private security. And I guarantee you, Elon being the richest man on the planet, I highly recommend you don't trust the Secret Service, Elon. You better have your own private security, and well paid. I mean, holy moly, the hate that Elon, I think, has surpassed Trump as far as the hate from the left. It's just amazing to watch and see. But I'm sorry I got off on that tangent. But I mean, you know, think about it. Elon was, think of how fast these people switch. Elon was the darling of the left because he was building electric cars. And by the way, Sean was talking about these electric cars. I would love to own a Tesla. He said the range on these things was, now I think he said 400 hours, and he might have meant 400 miles, and that it's got 1,000 horsepower in Model S, and it's all made in the United States. What's not to like about that? Why are lefties so against it? Why are lefties so against us going to Mars and becoming a multi-planetary race? This is what your Democrat neighbor is for. Anyway, so that's it on Elon Musk. There was something else about what's going on. Oh, yeah, this was a cute story. Was a judge, because he was going to cancel a lot of the government employee credit cards. And the judge ruled that he couldn't cancel or Doge, you know, the Doge. When I say, but Doge is, I mean, it's headed up by Elon. So you could say Elon. I mean, you know, just like everybody calls it the Trump administration, the Elon Doge. But anyway, so he said they couldn't cancel them. So Elon set the credit limit at $1. I don't know if that story's true, but if it is, isn't that freaking great? I mean, sometimes in life, you got to get a win. You set the credit limit at $1. I thought that was, oh my God, that was fucking great. Pardon my French. Sorry, I get the F-bombs flying sometimes because I'm from the military, and every other word was F-bomb. So British sources say it's time to stop sharing Five Eyes intelligence with the United States. My philosophy on that, who cares? I think the British can't even fire their Storm Shadow missiles without our guidance, you know, over in Ukraine. So, you know, I'm not sure what value British intelligence is to the United States. Now, I'm sure occasionally we get something out of them. But anyway, you know, and we're turning the CIA into a much leaner, meaner fighter or surveillance or intelligence machine. So I don't know. I don't really care about that. By the way, I got a lot of good clips coming up. You're going to like this video. So this is Joe Rogan. Essentially, Doge found the coffin where the vampire sleeps. We're reprogramming the Matrix. Success was never one of the possible outcomes. If you're in the Matrix, success was never possible. The only way to achieve success is to reprogram the Matrix.
Essentially, Doge has found the coffin where the vampire sleeps.
Yeah. We're reprogramming the Matrix. Like, Success was never one of the possible outcomes. As a Kobayashi Maru situation. If you're in the Matrix, success was never possible. The only way to achieve success is to reprogram the Matrix such that success is one of the possible outcomes. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We may or may not succeed.
Well, it's certainly a lot of fun to watch.
Such that success is one of the possible outcomes. And that's what we're doing. But we may or may not succeed. And this is a Joe Rogan video. So you got to watch that. All right. And that's him with Elon Musk, obviously. Okay, there's the video. So how can a judge end democracy in Romania? If you didn't know about Romania, I mean, I talked about this in a previous video, but the whole population, I mean, this guy was voted like 70% to be the president, and then a judge, a so-called judge, or, you know, a globalist lunatic, said that he can't be president. So this is a video of the Romanian riot police beating citizens as the deep state crushes protests. When I say the deep state, you know, we're talking about the authoritarian government of Romania now. This is the Europe that everybody, all the leftists want us to support, a bunch of raving globalist authoritarian lunatics. You got a Democrat neighbor? Oh, they just assume we spend every freaking dollar to Europe to help out these globalist lunatics. All right, let's keep going. Elon Musk. They want the forever war. How many more parents with no sons? How many more children with no fathers? By their logic, it never ends. And he was replying to a post here by Wall Street Mav. Damn it. Sometimes I can't get it. There we go. Wall Street Mav. European leaders are retarded. I agree with that. Danish PM Mette Dickinson. Peace in Ukraine is more dangerous than ongoing war. Can you imagine making a statement like that? Peace is more dangerous than ongoing war. Think about that. Think about it. That's what your Democrat neighbor believes, man. I mean, who wouldn't want peace but a lunatic or a demonic person, you know? Anyway, she won't end the war because Putin might attack someone else in the future. Under that logic, there is no end to the war ever. Remember the precogs in, what was that movie? God dang it, I can't think of the name of it. But when they would predict that somebody was going to commit a future crime. I mean, that was a good movie, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You know, you're trying to predict that Russia's going to invade somewhere else. Let's watch that video.
I don't think we should panic, but I think we are in a hurry. And I think we have been in a hurry for 3 years, but now we really have to scale up and to speed up because Russia and Putin is not only threatening Ukraine, but all of us. And we have to be able to defend ourselves. My idea about Ukraine is the same as it has been now for 3 years, that they have to win this war. And if we allow Russia to win the war, I'm sorry to say directly to all of you, he will continue and they will continue. And maybe we will even give them a better situation than today, because if we end this war now with some kind of a frozen conflict, a ceasefire, it will give Russia the possibility to return to Russia, to mobilize more funds, people, and maybe to attack another country in Europe.
All right, so that was that video. Now this one's got me really pissed off. This is Rand Paul. Despite Doge's findings on loony left-wing USAID programs, the Republican spending bill, bring it up big, continues to fund the foreign aid Elon Musk proposes to cut. The bill continues spending at an inflated pandemic levels and will add $2 trillion to the debt this year. Count me as a hell not, or hell no, excuse me. Now, right now, Johnson has passed a bill in the House, which Trump is supporting. So it must be a pretty good bill. And, well, he hasn't passed it. I mean, all the Democrats will vote against it, of course. But And this is the continuing resolution on spending, okay, if you didn't want to know, because the government's going to shut down here soon. I want to say pretty damn within a week or so, if we can't get a continuing resolution up there, which who cares? I mean, I'd be happy if the government shut down, wouldn't you? But anyway, so that's, but the Senate bill is terrible. So we'll see, but hopefully the Republicans will vote for it and get it to the Senate so that we can watch the senators, and then we can blame the Democrats for not passing a continuing resolution and shutting down the government. That's my philosophy on it. So the House has to pass this bill. It might not be the best bill in the world, from what I understand, but it's better than not passing it, in my opinion. Because if the Senate bill goes through, we're screwed. We already did this, but you know what? I'll read you from the up front. This was the video we had up front, and it was from Jim Ferguson. He's the one who, I assume he produced that. Maybe he found it somewhere. The war machine, the globalist endgame exposed. Ukraine was never about democracy. The war machine roars. Lenin mocked, L-E-Y-E-N, Lenin. Oh, Ursula von der Leyen. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry, I didn't see the front. It's kind of hard to see with the sunlight here. So Ursula von der Leyen mocked Russia, claiming military was scavenging washing machine parts just to survive. Now, just 3 years later, she's demanding 800 billion euros to arm Europe, calling Russia a clear and present danger on a scale never seen in our lifetime. The shift is obvious and terrifying. It was never about democracy. It was the pretext. The real goal has always been the same: to destroy Russia, plunder its resources, and reshape the world under globalist control. They want war, and they want it now. What this means: the West proxy war has failed. So now they are escalating, dragging all of Europe into the abyss. With Trump and Putin pushing for peace, the globalists are rushing to inflame tensions before it's too late. Billions more will be spent. Countless lives will be lost. But their lust for power will never be satisfied. Boy, he's talking about Democrats, man. He's talking about Democrats. All right. Is Europe being led into a war it can't win? The world stands on the brink. It's no longer about Ukraine. It's about global dominance, regime change, and absolute control. The question is whether the people will wake up before it's too late. Well, maybe we woke up here in the United States. Can't say for sure how successful we're going to be, but we'll see what happens. And then let's go back for a little history. If you don't remember when the war started and everybody was waving their Ukrainian flags around, and of course I was making videos talking about, how stupid that was, and, that Ukraine was the most corrupt country on the planet. And now that, it's not even a democracy, it's an authoritarian, they're under martial law, and political prisoners are thrown in jail. We've got Gonzalo Lira, the American reporter that was murdered by the Ukrainians. They got a death list with a lot of U.S. citizens on the death list. And yeah, Democrats are all for that, man. They're all for that. But let's read this. This is by DD Geopolitics. And this was, if you remember back, the propaganda machine was going strong at the beginning of the war. So let's just read this to you. I got to get over here in the shade so that I can see the phone here. Let's see. The Mariupos Maternity Hospital shelling, a Ukraine staged provocation. March 9th, 2022. The world was shown shocking images of a maternity hospital in Mariupol, allegedly bombed by Russia. But the truth was deliberately twisted to serve a narrative. Ukrainian militants had already expelled the hospital's patients and staff before the strike. The building was turned into a fortified position, making it a military target. The resulting destruction was exploited to frame Russia, with images of staged casualties quickly circulated worldwide. The real victims were pregnant women and newborns who, sounds like Gaza, doesn't it? God. Who were used as pawns in a propaganda war. This was not a random attack, but it was a pre-planned provocation designed to manufacture outrage and push for more Western intervention. The truth is coming out. The lies will not stand forever. And we've got a video here. I'm going to take a break. We'll probably get back with some more footage here soon. If not, peace out. Stay free.
9 марта 2022 года в Мариупольском роддоме номер 3 произошла настоящая трагедия, изначально спланированная украинскими боевиками. По роддому на левом берегу уже стреляли, и люди бежали сюда, надеясь, что их спасут. В подвалах были семьи беременных, а женщины на сохранении лежали на этажах. Питьевая вода закончилась 5 марта, тогда перешли на техническую, но 9 числа не осталось и ее. При этом украинские боевики даже не думали помочь мирным в больнице. Наоборот, забирали последнюю еду.
Поднялась врач и говорит: Тань, там в подвале у нас началась кишечная инфекция. Мне очень запомнилось 2 деток. 2-го мы смогли откапать 3-летнего и оказать ему какую-то медицинскую помощь. А вот 11-месячного ребенка даже анестезиологи пытались подключить ему веник, и мы не смогли оказать помощь. Он настолько был обезвожен.
Но когда это останавливало Киев? Для них на информационной войне, видимо, все средства хороши. Особенно использовать беззащитных женщин и младенцев, чтобы обвинить Россию. Свой опорный пункт боевики назвали военным госпиталем, и всего через 2 часа сбылось наихудшее опасение Татьяны, которую спасло правило 2 стен. После первого взрыва вылетели все стекла. Татьяна Кириленко сразу кинулась спасать коллег и пациенток. Сделала только 2 шага, и сразу прогремел 2-й взрыв. Когда женщина очнулась, вокруг увидела такую картину. Ни стен, ни перегородок, а кровати прямо из палат вылетели в коридор. Взрывы были рядом с роддомом, и сразу после них появились украинские силовики и репортеры западных изданий. Они начали видеофиксацию бегущих окровавленных людей. Когда у всего города не было ни света, ни связи, они сделали все, чтобы весь мир увидел фейк ВСУ. Якобы Россия нанесла удар авиабомбой. Подтвердили это и местные власти, сбежавшие из города в первые же дни СВО.
Авиаудара я не слышала точно, потому что так, как летали самолеты, мы не могли не слышать. Это я могу утверждать, не знаю, где угодно, авиаудара не было.
Запад, конечно, не захотел это слышать, а украинские боевики спокойно заняли опустевшее здание роддома. Внутри до сих пор остались ящики от боекомплектов. Но совсем рядом уже возвели целый больничный городок, в котором есть детское отделение с новейшим оборудованием. Кипит жизнь и в единственном роддоме Мариуполя.
За прошлый год у нас в нашем учреждении прошло 1195 родов. От 7 до 10 родов в день. Для нас не важно, девочка это или мальчик, лишь бы они были все здоровы.
All right. Listening to Sean Hannity, like I said, most of the time, he's not all that great, but today he had a good story, and I thought this would be interesting for the video. And but I thought it was, well, first I wanted to start with Trump. And Trump was doing an interview. You know how he's always doing interviews. I swear, we went 4 years with Biden. He couldn't even speak to Trump. Every 10 minutes there's a new clip of Trump saying something. But anyway, he was talking about the fact that, we're going to be able, if we make peace with Russia, we're going to divert a lot of the money that we put into nuclear weapons to like building a new Columbia-class submarine, which is much more important. Because we already got enough nuclear weapons to blow the world up like 16 times, So, and plus, it costs a lot of money to maintain those nuclear weapons. But he was pointing out to the reporter, he says, you guys think that climate change is the number one, threat to the world. Or remember white supremacy? The Democrats think white supremacy is the greatest threat to the United States. I mean, when they said that, when Biden said that, I was just like, what the hell are they talking about? I don't know about you, but I've never seen any white supremacy, especially not in the military. You get your ass kicked, man. Anyway, but so, he said, no, he says nuclear weapons. He says, one nuclear bomb and, everybody in an entire city, this isn't what he said, but I mean, I'm just summarizing it, is gone. The whole world is destroyed. So you think climate change is something we have to worry about? I mean, that's just ridiculous. Or global warming. Remember, years ago, back in the 70s, we were going into an ice age. It was going to be global freezing. And then, of course, the leftists latched on to global warming. And then I guess it became climate change. The climate change hoax reminds me of a skit by George Carlin. Because, if you ever watch any of my videos, I'm always complaining about how the weathermen here in Florida, I mean, they never get it right. It could be 70% chance of rain and it'll be a beautiful day. 20% chance of rain and I'm in the middle of a thunderstorm. You know, so they're always wrong. But anyway, so the ultimate George Carlin weather forecast, you could look it up on YouTube. But if it was something like, you know, the weather is going to go on, and it will change tonight, and it'll change tomorrow, and it will change the next day.
Hey, baby, what's happening? Que pasa? Que what you call your pasa? Al Sleet here, you hippy-dippy weather, man, with all the hippy-dippy weather, man. Brought to you by Parsons Pest Control. Do you have termites, water bugs, and roaches? Well, Parsons will help you get rid of the termites and water bugs and help you smoke the roaches. Temperature at the airport is 88 degrees, which is stupid, man, because I don't know anybody who lives at the airport. Now, if you'll take a look at our national weather map, you'll see that we don't have one. So try to picture last night's map in your mind. Remember all the letters and lines, all them little numbers. The weather is dominated by a large Canadian low, which is not to be confused with a Mexican high. Tonight's forecast, dark. Continue dark tonight, turning to partly light in the morning.
It went on something like that. It was a lot funnier from him. But I mean, and so he said, you know, you can't beat that weather forecast. I mean, that was the ultimate weather forecast for everybody. But anyway, the warming story that I heard, which I thought was pretty cool. Let's get the dog on the video. Yeah, he's having a good time today. Was the Sean Hannity, and he's interviewing RFK Jr., and they're at a Steak and Shake, of all places. And Sean was pointing out, he said the burger there was really, really good, and that they've converted over to healthy oils. If you didn't know, seed oils are really, really bad for you. And a lot of the off-the-shelf oils, even olive oil, you know, can have seed oils in them, and they're extremely bad for you, especially cooking them, heating them up. So, but Steak and Shake, evidently, they cook their fries in a new, in a healthy type of oil, and that's why RFK Jr. took Sean Hannity there, because he pays attention to that sort of thing. And Sean said for the first time, he had some fries. We don't want to watch that. He's getting ready to do his thing. For the first time, he said he got fries, and he said they were fantastic. So you know what? I mean, as a result of that, and that tells you about RFK Jr. Everybody thinks, oh, and then they were also saying that the measles, yeah, it's going around, and the media is making a big deal around it. It's the measles, man. Not many people die from the measles, you know. And they were brought in by the illegal aliens, which was another story. Oh, God dang it, everything just keeps popping in my head. So I just saw the leftists are starting to post that because of Trump's actions, we're likely to have a terrorist attack. What do you mean? Because of Trump's actions deporting criminals and getting the illegal aliens out of the country, we are likely to have a terrorist attack. So they're really, understand the narrative here. They're laying the foundation because there's going to be a terrorist attack. Joe Biden let in 20 million illegal aliens, unvetted, many of them known terrorists, and on the watch list, and they let them go in the country on purpose. So yeah, you're going to have a terrorist attack. If you want to blame somebody, blame Joe Biden. And don't listen to those idiots in the media, the legacy media, I want to call them, that are going to spin a narrative that, oh, this is all Trump's fault. Just like inflation's Trump's fault. You understand it's going to take him a year to repair the damage that the Democrats did to the United States. I mean, inflation, yeah, it's here, but it's going to take a year for Trump to fix that. All right, hopefully this will be the end of the video. I can't think of anything else, but I just thought that Steak and Shake story was cool. You know, this is Mila Joy. If you don't follow her on X, I'm not going to put the text up above, but I just wanted to read this to you because it infuriates me. The NGO under Biden, Catholic Charities, revenue quadrupled in 4 years. It's very profitable when you ignore your morals and facilitate the destruction of America by bringing in millions of illegals. Even though they lost 350,000 children, their income went up, and then it's got a picture of the income sheet. So I wanted to hit on that, you know, because it wasn't, I think it was also the Episcopalians. You know, a lot of people, you know, they go into these churches and they give them money, and they think, oh yeah, you know, the church is going to do the right thing. You know, they're good people. No, these are evil freaking people. And I'm not saying all Catholics are. But I'm telling you what, if I was a Catholic and I knew that we were doing human trafficking, one, I would probably leave the church, or two, I would file a protest of some sort. So the Catholic people that attend church just went along with the whole damn thing. And a lot of churches are like that. You know, people just go along. I was in the Mormon church for a while, and I'm not saying that the Mormons, there's the dog again, but I objected to the fact that all of my tithe, because they wanted 10%, went to Utah, you know, to the main church. And I said, well, no, if I'm going to give that much, I want it to go to my local, I want the majority. I mean, obviously you've got to have a central command, you know, I mean, in any sort of organization. But I wanted the majority of the money spent on my community. But the Mormon church is a complete top-down. Now, I've heard nothing about the Mormon church participating in human trafficking, so I'm not trying to say that they're not a good religion. But anyway, just wanted to point that out. If you're a church-going person, you better make sure where the money's going and that it's not going to evil freaking causes like trafficking children like the Catholic Church did. I'm just saying. I have one more for you. I heard the stock market went down like 1,000 points or something like that. Of course, the Democrats will say that's Trump's fault. The 4 years of Biden had nothing to do with it, believe me. But anyway, I just wanted to keep throwing this out there to you. Gold is at 2,898 and silver's at 32.27. Like I said, they're not an investment, they're a store of value. So if you lost a lot of money in the stock market today, you might want to, in the future, if it does come back, which many times it does, I'm not sure it will, who knows, you know, think about diversifying into a place. It's a holder of value. You know, it's like stuffing your mattress with cash that doesn't devalue. You know, I mean, you could put a dollar bill under your mattress, and a dollar bill was worth a lot more 50 years ago than it is today. From statistics I've heard, it's lost 98% of its value. Silver has not, and gold certainly has not. Just saying. All right, one more little piece of news. Well, I'm sure you've heard it on the radio that there was a cyber attack on X, and it was I noticed it was acting weird this morning, and I was like, I just chalk it up to whatever. I had other things to do in the morning. I was just, I'm checking it from time to time. Anyway, so originally the legacy media was reporting it was a Hamas that had attacked X. So don't ever listen to the legacy media. That's all I got to say, man. They lie, and they spin, and they're narrative. Okay, Elon just came on and said that the attack originated in the Ukraine area. Now, I'm not sure what he means by the Ukraine area. He didn't come out and specifically say it was Ukraine. But I'm just telling you, that's the spin that you get from the legacy media. There he is in all his glory.
American border problems won't be fixed until Congress acts. If we don't pass my comprehensive immigration reform, at least pass my plan to provide the equipment and officers to secure the border.
Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.